Well, first of all, it's great to be here, and I can't thank Lloyd Roden enough for inviting me to come on the program. I had not heard of this conference before, so it was an amazing opportunity to venture out into a new space, so thank you very much. And I want to tell you, this is quite an amazing conference that you have here. With the growth that you've seen and the level of the attendees, the sponsors, the venue, the event last night, and all of the networking, I hope people can see all of the networking going on. This is a very important part of the conference. You've created an atmosphere here that is hard to match. And I do go to a lot of testing conferences in the US and in other countries, and some of them are larger, some of them are smaller, but the most important thing is not the size. The important thing is that the attendees are collaborating, that they have access to the speakers, and they do. Through Slido, you're providing them an interface to ask questions, and so you have a facilitated Q&A going on. That's very top tier. That's really top notch. It's important for the attendees, very important for the speakers to have that forum to be able to answer questions, and I think it's just tremendous. So kudos to you and the team for putting on a great conference. This is a very important question. How do project managers really interact with the team and utilize testing effectively? Because most of the time, testers will get asked for a schedule, and they will provide a schedule, and then the project manager will chop it in half, which seems unnecessary. I always tell people on courses, if the project comes to you with a deadline already, don't bother with an estimate. Just go with whatever they say, because it's whatever time you have. So now the work that you need to do in planning is to figure out what you can do in the time given. That's a really interesting thing, and it cannot be done alone. Cannot be done alone. So the tester and the project manager need to work together. So I call this being a project manager's wingman, meaning we are here as test leaders, as test managers, to help keep the project safe. And the only way we can do that is to collaborate and understand things like risk so that we can choose tests wisely, not focus on things that are not important, not log defects that are not interesting to the team. So we must have that collaboration from the very, very beginning. And on the flip side, I think it's very important for testers to be able to talk what I call triangle speak. So the triangle, the project management triangle of scope, schedule, and resources, and risks to those things. So until we elevate our language, many project managers won't even be able to hear what we're saying. So I believe it actually has to come from both sides. And I had a great experience. About 2 weeks ago, I was delivering an ISTQB foundation course, which I've been delivering for almost 11 years now. And most people, and even I thought, well, gee, this might get boring at some point in time. I wish I could say that, but it doesn't. It's such rich material, and I had 4 project managers in this course. They were the most interactive. They were the most interested. They had the most questions about how to utilize testing, and their eyes were wide open. And they actually want to bring me back in to teach that course to the rest of the project management team, because it's vital information that will help them be successful, but also they get 22.5 PDUs in the US towards their PMI certification. So they're all very excited about it. So I think that's a great question. I definitely have some advice for what I call the new crop of testers coming into the industry, and that is, don't get stagnant. Don't believe that there's only one way to do something. Please understand that there is a maturity curve in testing for the individual, for the team doing the work, and the organization. And depending on where you are when you start, you may only be aware of a small amount of things. Different ways to approach testing, different techniques to use, different prioritization schemes, different risk analysis methods to be used. It all depends on where you're at, so just don't get stuck. And I think one of the ways to achieve that is always be asking questions. So if somebody says, hey, you should always test this way, please first doubt that, but you don't necessarily have to say that out loud. You could just say, could you please explain to me why, so that I may become as knowledgeable as you. Sometimes you will have just embarrassed the person because they will realize that they're saying things that they don't know the basis for. They read them in a book, they were taught that way, they actually don't know what the reason why is. So you can go on that odyssey together and learn. Maybe read some books, even old books. Tell us something about the history of testing and how it got to where it is today. So even though it might seem that there's resources that are dated, don't discount them entirely. There's little nuggets of wisdom that appear in many, many resources over and over again, like trends that go away and come back. So testing is testing. Not a lot has changed there over the past 30, 40 years. Not a lot. We're still doing the same good stuff. We need to make it better though. So I invite everyone coming up today to push the envelope just a little bit every day if they can.